Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome. Ethos of Silence, and we're back. I'm lucky enough to have Chuck here again with me. This is becoming a normal thing, huh, Chucky boy?
Hey, I'm liking it. I like it, All
right. So, sometimes in life, you come across situations that you'd rather not have continued, like they need to stop. And the best way to stop something is to starve it. No reaction. Just don't feed it. That's where true power lies. You see, where attention goes, energy flows. Cut off the energy. Stop trying to respond. Sometimes the loudest response is silence. Let negativity starve, and you'll see how fast it fades away. What do you think?
I agree. A bad habit that I used to have is I like to drink, It was not a habit for me. It wasn't even something that I really much enjoyed prior to going into the military, but as the culture of the military, the time that we were in, drinking was a coping mechanism. I have been through, divorces, loss of family members, friends, personal issues and things, and a coping mechanism that I picked up while I was in service was drinking. But when my daughter was born, my youngest daughter, 2017, I realized I needed to stop. So I stopped drinking cold turkey.
Oh, that's hard.
And I'll be honest, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and I don't know if you remember Corporal Huey. So I have been reading about we had an issue with fueling, and I have been reading the publication, and I learned about circuit breakers, specifically about the defueling and refueling circuit breakers. And I remember, I literally, no lie, that Friday, I had got quizzed on the fuel system and everything else like that. And, we go home, I end up getting a call Saturday afternoon. One of our jets went down in El Centro. It wouldn't take any fuel, right? So I get excited because Corporal Huey's like, "Hey, pack up some stuff. We're gonna go fix this jet." I get really excited, go to the squash and grab all the things. I'm trying to talk to Corporal Huey, telling me to shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about. We're gonna wait to get out there. And of course, as a new guy, I'm driving the van. I'm loading up the van. All the grunt work. We end up getting out to the airfield, and they start working on the plane. And of course, I'm sitting there with the publications. I'm just reading. And of course, as I'm reading this little quote about a specific circuit breaker. So I get excited. I raise my hand in the air and I say, "Corporal Huey, I think it's a circuit breaker." Corporal Huey goes, "You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. Keep reading about it." So I take a little bit of initiative. I go in the toolbox. I got some tools. I drop the hellhole. Okay, for the viewers that don't know, it's this tiny little square panel on the back of the plane, and I managed to, get the panel about 2/3 of the way off. or so somebody realizes, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And somebody tells Corey Huey, like, hey, what is your guy doing? He calls my name, and I act like I ignore him. I act like I can't hear him. Calls my name again, and I pop my head out, and I said, I'm looking at a circuit breaker. He yells at me, tells me not to, stop what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Get off the plane. I don't listen. I popped that panel off, and Loucks, when I tell you, when I dropped the panel, I reached in as I saw the pop circuit breaker. Okay, I'm being pulled out the hellhole by Corey Huey at the same time, and he's yelling at me because I'm supposed to be helping the guys do some other stuff, and I wasn't, of course. And I'm like, it's the circuit breaker. All I hear is circuit breaker, circuit breaker, circuit breaker. They have half the wing torn up because they're looking at fuel probes, right? They're looking at the shutoff valve, all that kind of stuff. And he pops his head in, and sure enough, he goes, it's a fucking circuit breaker. So what does that have to do with my alcoholic story? Well, we end up celebrating because I had fixed my first jet. The only place open in El Centro was a Taco Bell whose fountain drink machine was broken. So we had to go to the liquor store, which is the only other thing that was open in El Centro. And of course, it wasn't enough for us to get 2 liters. We had to get some alcohol. Me and Corey Huey that night, my very first night, finished a liter of Jack Daniels. To this day, if I smell Jack Daniels, I will yak. I'm telling you right now,
man.
if you ever want to give me a present, please don't ever give me a bottle of Jack Daniels because I will yak. But I love my Jim Beam. I love my Jameson. I'm a big whiskey guy. I even experimented with that peanut butter whiskey for a little while. But no, I quit drinking, and I try to find some healthier other methods to deal with my problems and my issues.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all about trying to figure out new ways to cope with what's going on, Let's jump into some things that service taught you then, right? Like the ability to function on little to no sleep, laughing at miserable situations, and somehow that dark humor is a coping mechanism. How to hurry up and wait, I'm honestly capable more than I ever thought I would be, than I could be,
Mm-hmm.
Purpose matters more than comfort. How to stay calm when everything's going wrong around me. Silence can be louder than yelling. Boy, that one hurts, huh?
I think the worst thing is silence. I can't stand it. I'd rather you yell at me. And it's not, silence is like you just don't even hear.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't bother you at all. And I can't. Oh God, I can't handle that.
Mm-hmm. How to keep going when you're on empty.
I think the military teaches that really well. I can't tell you how many times I felt like I was on empty, and just on my, we're still going.
I'd have to say that's a pretty strong list of things that service probably taught me. Is there anything else you'd kind of add on to it, or that basically covers the majority of the?
I think it also teaches someone healthy habits, right? Unrealistic expectations.
Unrealistic
right?
expectations, yeah.
Because we're not machines, We do have a limit, but I feel like sometimes, you're almost taught to believe that you don't have limits, and so you keep going and going until you break down. And then when service members end up getting out of the military, and we're not going, 100% anymore, that's when the body.
the constant doing, right? So if anything sits idle, it starts to fade. If you've ever seen any of these big things in the plants, whenever these big dryers shut down for a week or two, that's when rust starts to form. But as long as they're up and running and churning and going, rust isn't going to form on them. It's the magic of you waking up every morning, you go and run every morning, you doing all this other different stuff. Sure, maybe you could take a 2-week break and go on a Christmas hiatus or this or that or whatever, or go to these different things. But like the going to these things and doing these things and maintaining where you're at. You don't maintain where you're at. At one time, you could run a sub 20 minute 3 miles, and you were just telling me in the last little podcast that you finished your 3 miles, but that was 13 minutes above the 20 minutes of your best time ever. It's like, what? Like I think my best time was like maybe a 19 something, right underneath there. But I mean, I'm glad I got promoted, and then those things really don't matter anymore, like.
I guess when you're really looking at it, so we got to enjoy the moments when we have them, right? When you have your youth, you have this ability to push yourself, right, to those limits, those higher limits, and to accomplish those feats. And like you said, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not doing the maintenance,
self-care is big, man. Self-care is huge.
But it never feels like a priority when you're in. You know what I mean? Or maybe that was just me. There was always the mission first. There was always
because that goes back to purpose matters more than comfort. So the purpose of being in shape matters more than the discomfort of waking up early to go to run before you go to work, or the discomfort of being tired. So like, one thing I have never taken since getting out of the military is pre-workout. Like, if I'm tired, I am not going to take pre-workout and get the energy to go work out. Like, I'm just not. I'm going to be lazy and not do it. But in the military, I would take pre-workout and I'd work out till I was tired. Then I'd go back to my berthing and take a shower and go to sleep. Right? After working all day. And I do that religiously, and that's the type of wear and tear that you can put on your body. Let's switch things up a bit. Every pattern in life repeats itself until you learn the lesson. The moment you choose differently, the loop ends and growth begins. What way, some things you have to learn via the Vegeta method, and other things you can get away with learning the Goku method because you believe this person, you can press the believe button on it. But sometimes hitting that believe button is outside of your grasp, and or like, for you to retain the information, you've got to failed. Failure teaches you, as long as you're willing to learn from that failure. You want to keep repeating the same failure, you're stuck in that same stupid loop. And this goes right back to what we were talking about before with mediocre people. why mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people.
You know, I guess when I look around, if you look at somebody and you're like, I know for a fact, you know, through things that you've told me, you haven't worked as hard as I have. You haven't sacrificed as much as I have. You know, why are you here? You know? And that's one thing I think I appreciated in the military, and I think why we built the bonds that we did, because everyone had to go through boot camp. Everyone had to go through weapons training. So at least you knew, you know, they did the same things that you did, you know? And that made it, I guess, a little bit better. You know, I had some coworkers that I'm like, how do you get here? Not even just coworkers, friends. I got friends in some positions, in some jobs, and I'm like, you're an idiot. How did you get that job? And it's just, and they're really great friends. They're awesome friends, you know. And I'm just like, you're a dumbass.
But I mean,
what happened?
Oh man, I hear you. I mean, it speaks toward like you and me brotherhood. Like our brotherhood is forged in fire. It's not forged in celebration. You know, like we've been in the same places. We've tasted the same dirt. We've had the same exact struggles. Thus, you know, we're in this forever brotherhood. You know, and it's not just we met each other and had a beer and, you know, we're friends. You know, it's a lot deeper than that, and it feels like a brotherhood. And all that is just like, it creates such a trust that you're able to overlook other different things that you're not able to overlook whenever that basic bond isn't there.
Yeah.
Because we expect something out of the people who did not have to sacrifice those years of their life. You know, like, how are you not further along in life? You didn't have to sacrifice the years I sacrificed to go to training, go across the country here, go across the country there, go on a deployment here, a deployment here, a deployment here. You know, like, how have you not done anything with your life? And it's so disappointment when you look at someone else. It comes from the fact that if you were handed what they've been handed and you went through exactly what's been handed to them, you would have chosen a different path to actually fix it. You know, like the fact of going back to that circuit breaker, you know, there's no power on the circuit. Where's power come from? Let's check and make sure if we're getting good power before we even worry about anything else. You know, like very, very simple principles that obviously we need to look at before we're trying to, but I mean, they were just pulling the cap off the fuel probe. They weren't actually pulling the probe out. They were pulling the cap off the wing to be able to check the probe at the cannon plug for everything else. So, I mean, it's all the same stuff, but still, man.
I miss it though. I still miss it.
So I don't miss as much of it as my mind is playing tricks on me and saying that I'm missing. The main thing that I miss is being surrounded by people who were competent at what they were competent at. And I mean, we had some people who paid people to fix their cars and a bunch of other different stuff that just, like, from where I grew up and what I went through, I do not understand you wasting money on something that you can do yourself and paying anybody else ever to do it, because nobody ever makes enough money for that. You know, like, you eventually have some downtime somewhere to do that. Pain is temporary, honor is forever.
Well, I think to go along with that, pain is temporary and everything else like that. Sometimes you can avoid pain entirely. You choose to be smart.
Yeah, yeah. But sometimes avoiding the pain, you never learn the lesson.
That's very true.
And I mean, it all depends on what you're messing with. It really does. You got a busy day tomorrow or what, buddy?
Well, Uncle Sam still owns me for tomorrow. I will be drilling with my lovely unit. We're doing some practice drills and things of that nature. Nothing too crazy. So I'm actually looking forward because I'm gonna have me a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
I'm doing some rescheduling some things. I have I got an interview for a new job.
That's awesome. That is exciting.
Man, I'm actually pretty excited. So it's I can't give you the whole title.
No. So check it out. You will never see the great things ahead of you if you keep looking at the bad things behind you. Right? If you keep focusing on the past, you keep both eyes on that rearview mirror, you're not going to see what's coming up.
It actually kind of landed in my lap. They actually, the company I work for now, I was actually recommended to apply to the position. So I was an instructor while I was in the military.
Yeah.
That's what this position is. I do a lot of teaching in my current position to the new guys that come in. So it's actually an instructor teaching position. And it's I think my final interview is the 18th or something. 19th.
Okay.
It's a significant pay bump. At times it's hard. I just went to go put gas today.
Hey man, that's the way it works. Yeah, well, gas kind of went up with all of our amazing operations and whatnot, and I think it's more the company's taking advantage of the fear, not any actual thing going on.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I got my car because I didn't want a truck because I didn't want the big gas bill. But yes, ask me how much it would cost to fill up my car today from empty.
I don't know, $60.
$72.
That sucks. That sucks.
$72. That when has ever? I can't. Even when I had a truck, I think the most I ever paid was $65. This is a 4-cylinder car. This is a 4-cylinder car. It takes premium, but So that's what I got going on tomorrow. We got some training. We got some junior sailors getting ready for a board, something like that. So there'll be like some uniform inspection, things that nature. Things that I still thoroughly enjoy doing. I enjoy the uniform inspections. I enjoy that. So that's going to be some fun. What about you? What you got planned for tomorrow?
Oh man, wake up and do it all over again. Wake up and do it all over again. That's it. One more for the books.
In college or the NFL level you care about right now?
Sports? What are you talking about, man? If I was going into college right now with the NIL landscape, and I think I would try and attach onto somebody and like be negotiating contracts and different stuff like that. If I was a young guy and never joined the military, I think knowing the little bit I know about sports and everything else, I think I'd try and get in with one of these organizations and be a recruiter going to and from places, trying to swindle with my bag of money mommy to talk her son into going to X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm telling you right now. I recently started looking in to NIL deals and stuff like that, and the contracts and things that go into that. First of all, college sports is big. It's great that these young men and women are getting deals and stuff like that. They're getting a taste, right? They're getting a taste of the millions and millions of dollars that are made from their efforts and whatnot. But I could not imagine that kind of pressure right now. 18, 19-year-old kids, you know? And also at the same time, you see how they act out, because they, all of a sudden go from no money in their bank account to millions of dollars, you know? Like, why would school be important, you know?
I hear you.
Oh.
So I know you call and talk to me a lot, and I'd have to tell you, one of the only reasons I'm good at giving advice is because I tell other people what I wish somebody had told me when I'm in that situation. Each piece of advice is a reflection of a lesson that I learned through my own trials, tribulations, and fucked up mistakes over and over again. And it's not a calculated response. It's just the silence that I was once telling myself. And when I went through it,
man, your advice though has helped me. It's helped a bunch of people. I mean, man. It's thankful for it, truly, because if it wasn't for it, there are times where like
situations would have been a lot more difficult than what they had to be. So having the conversation, sucking it up, and talking to a friend who's been through what you're going through or has painted that path for you, it can almost guide you almost as much as a mentor did in the military. With whenever you're struggling with something, they can see something, they can pull your side, they can help you and guide you. And in that, we need to find that same level of friend in the civilian realm that can help and guide us. I mean, the problem is civilian, everybody stabs people in the back trying to get to be the next person, but it is what it is. Yeah. If we don't inform each other, don't let the secret die with you. Make sure everybody else knows, the way that the system works.
And you know what? I think that's something that the military does way better than the civilian world. Because I've been told on more than one occasion, I try to share as much information as I can, and people go, "What, man? You work so hard for that, right? You're just giving it away. You're just giving it away." Like, is that not what the whole point to this is?
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that? Why would I, gatekeep, so to speak, lessons and stuff? Maybe you have something that I don't know.
It's because they're under the illusion that the gatekeeping is the job security, because that's what they think, even if it's something they read 30 seconds ago and they don't want to talk about with somebody else, it's ridiculous. I'll never understand it, because it's never a culture. And I mean, so that culture is a top-down leadership type thing, to where the person underneath, you want your protege to know everything you know, so that they don't have to bother you with anything, so that they're not wasting their time, and it's a level of professionalism that just doesn't. It's a level of respect that we see as professionalism, but other people see as something completely different. They see it as giving up the ghost. So it is what it is. I don't know.
Manners is another thing. God, I hate, man. Just a simple hello, the customs and courtesy, it's almost like it's lost on people. I know, you know what? I had somebody, I just generally just say, hey, have a good day. They kind of look at you like you're crazy.
Did you say customs and courtesies?
Hey.
Oh, man. Oh, the Navy has changed you, my young friend. Oh. All right, well, we're at 30 minutes. That one was rough. You got any words of wisdom?
No, not tonight, man. You know what? Change your socks, hydrate, and take Motrin.
Hey, man, if you got to change your socks and take Motrin, you're getting old. Anyways, but hydration's a real good one.
Tim.
Oh, she said your whole first name.
Ethos of Silence, I'm out before I get in trouble.
We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.